Have you ever sat in absolute silence, but felt like your entire being was screaming from the inside out? There's no noise, no argument, no chaos outside, yet your mind sounds like a battlefield at midnight. Explosions of regret, shadows of guilt, the constant whisper of fears you can't even name. You sit still, yet something inside you thrashes, desperate to escape. Your breath becomes a struggle, not because of panic, but because something invisible has wrapped its hands around your chest like a ghost from the past. That is not just stress. That is not just a rough day. That is trauma. That is suppressed rage. That is soul-level decay from energy you never released. It didn't show up by accident. It was built, brick by brick, through years of unspoken agony, silent betrayals, and wounds you smiled through when you should have screamed. Some people carry a past that never shuts its eyes. They walk, talk, laugh, succeed, but the moment they're alone, the ghosts come back, and they don't knock. They barge in. You relive that betrayal like it just happened. You punish yourself for trusting someone you knew deep down would leave. You replay fake scenarios just to say what you never got to say, just to win an argument that already burned your heart to ashes. This is invisible suffering, a private hell where the jailer and the prisoner wear the same face. Most people are locked in that cage. They don't even know it. And the worst part? They've learned to decorate their prison and call it home. Negative energy is not some woo-woo spiritual fog. It's a parasite, a savage, shape-shifting demon that feeds on your silence. It hides in your clenched jaw, your tightened shoulders, your restless sleep. It steals your appetite, your patience, your light. Your body keeps score of the pain your mouth refused to speak. And if you don't release it, if you don't purge it out from your bones, it will rot you from the inside. Slowly, quietly, brutally. One day you'll wake up and not recognize who you've become, because the version of you that once laughed loudly, loved deeply, and lived freely has been replaced by a bitter shadow that reacts to everything and trusts nothing. And you won't even be able to explain why. That's the curse of unprocessed pain. You start to overthink every glance. Every word feels like an attack. You lose control over your peace. You snap at loved ones. You fake smiles like it's a performance. And inside you're just exhausted, not from work, not from people, but from carrying memories that refuse to die. But the Stoics, those warriors of the soul, they knew this battlefield. They didn't talk about fighting the world. They talked about conquering the self. Epictetus didn't just teach peace. He taught war, inner war. He said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Which means your suffering isn't from what happened. It's from what you became after it happened. You let the pain build its house inside your spirit. You fed it. You nurtured it. You let it raise its voice until it became the only voice. And that's where the true war begins. Not with revenge, not with escape, but with cleansing the battlefield within. Not soothing it, burning it down and rebuilding it from ash. Because if the mind can poison the body, then the mind can also be the cure. But you have to go in, raw, naked, and unafraid. You have to rip out the roots of every lie you believed, every scar you worshipped, and every wound you pretended didn't hurt. You have to stand in the fire of your truth and scream louder than the voices that tried to drown you. This is not about healing gently. This is about taking back your soul by force. In this video, I'm going to drag you into the depths and then show you how to crawl out with blood in your mouth and power in your spine. We're not breaking down soft ideas. We're unleashing 5 soul-scorching truths that don't just touch the mind. They punch through the chest. These truths will help you kill that negative energy, not manage it, kill it, burn it. Replace it with inner silence that doesn't beg for peace, but demands it. By the end, you'll know exactly how to stop being the victim of your memories and start becoming the architect of your future. You'll stop looking for peace outside and start commanding it from within, not with noise, not with distractions, but with full control of your own fire. So don't blink, don't skip a second. If your soul has been screaming in silence, this is the moment you reclaim the volume. Share this with someone who's been carrying too much without saying a word. And subscribe, because this channel is not for the faint-hearted. This is for the ones who've bled in silence and are done pretending. If that's you, write this below like it's a battle cry. My energy belongs to me, not my pain. Now let's get into it. Number 1. Cut emotional echoes from your routine. You keep telling yourself you've moved on. You smile in front of people. You keep your hands busy, your calendar full, your mouth silent. But your routine, your everyday rhythm, it screams the truth louder than your voice ever will. You wake up and grab your phone, not to check the time, but to scroll through emotional wreckage. You say it's harmless, you say it's nothing, but deep down, you know exactly what you're doing. You're looking for a pulse in something that's long been dead. You're picking at scabs, begging them to bleed again. Their name, their silence, their last post, the photo you shouldn't have saved but did. It's not a habit, it's a ritual, and it's eating you alive. Your routine is the crime scene, and every day you revisit it like a grieving detective refusing to close the case. You take the same damn route that once made your heart flutter, but now punches your chest with a cold fist. You play the same songs that used to feel like love, but now echo like funeral hymns. You wear the same cologne, drink the same coffee, sit in the same places where your heart once felt safe. But now, those places have become haunted houses with your peace tied up in the attic. And the worst part? You don't even realize how deep the damage goes, because the pain doesn't yell anymore. It whispers through tight shoulders, shallow breaths, and that random anxiety you can't explain. But it's not random. It's the ghost of your own choices clinging to your skin. The Stoics didn't just speak about resilience. They practiced it like warriors. They understood that the mind is a mirror, and every repeated action polishes it to reflect either chaos or clarity. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Let that sink in. It means most of what's breaking you right now isn't real anymore. It's the echo of what you won't stop replaying. It's your mind acting like a director obsessed with the same painful scene. You're pressing the same bruise every morning, hoping it won't hurt today. But pain doesn't stop because you get used to it. It stops when you starve it. And you? You've been feeding it 3 meals a day and calling it nostalgia. You keep checking on people who vanished without a goodbye. You keep romanticizing scars like they were love letters. But they weren't. They were warnings, and you ignored every one of them. You handed your mornings to shadows, gave your peace away like it was worthless. You think it's strength to feel everything? No. Sometimes it's strength to feel nothing, especially for the people and memories that tried to bury you. So stop giving CPR to dead connections. Stop sharing your oxygen with ghosts who chose not to breathe beside you when it mattered. You want healing? Then stop repeating the ritual that revives your wounds. Walk a different path. Blast new music that doesn't carry their scent. Change your bedsheets. Clean your room like it's a sacred war against everything that once broke you. Delete their messages. Burn their letters, in your mind or in real life, it doesn't matter. Just burn them. Rebuild your space until it stops echoing their name. This isn't running away from reality. This is dragging reality by the throat and forcing it to serve you, not the other way around. Because the longer you let pain dictate your rhythm, the more you train your body to believe that suffering is safety. That pain is home. But it's not. It's poison disguised as comfort. And every time you repeat a routine soaked in old grief, you breathe in that poison again. That's not healing. That's self-destruction wearing the mask of nostalgia. And your body knows. It's not just tired, it's exhausted. Not just mentally, but spiritually. Your chest feels heavy because you're carrying cemeteries inside you. The fatigue that won't leave, the headaches that return like tides, the lump in your throat every morning. That's not stress. That's trapped emotion. That's the weight of every emotional echo you've let live rent-free in your bones. But you're not broken. You're just repeating the wrong song. And it's time to kill the rhythm before it kills you. Number 2. Stop letting other people's energy hijack yours. There are people who will never raise their voice, never throw a punch, never touch a single hair on your head, and yet they can set your entire soul on fire with a smirk, a sigh, a single cold-blooded silence. You walk into the room feeling light, calm, collected, and walk out feeling like someone ripped your spirit through a shredder. Why? Because they didn't need weapons, they used energy. Their presence alone was venom, and you let it crawl into your bloodstream like it had permission. That's the problem. Negative energy doesn't kick the door down. It waits for you to hold it open. It doesn't shout, it seeps. It wraps around your aura like smoke in a locked room. And before you know it, your thoughts aren't yours anymore. Your peace hijacked, your light dimmed, your day ruined, and not because they had power, but because you handed over the keys to your emotional kingdom without a fight. You tried to keep the peace and sacrificed your peace in the process. You walked on eggshells so long, your feet forgot what solid ground feels like. You danced around someone else's dysfunction like it was your duty. You blamed yourself for the moods they created. You apologized for storms you didn't start. You tried to soothe the rage that wasn't yours to tame. And slowly, bit by bit, you started erasing yourself, just to keep the room from exploding. But Stoicism wasn't built for submission. It was forged for war. Marcus Aurelius didn't write in comfort, he wrote in chaos. And still, he said it clear as fire. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That means someone can spit their bitterness on your floor, but it only becomes your mess if you kneel down to clean it. Their bitterness is not your inheritance. Their drama is not your cross to carry. Their mood swings are not your forecast. So, why are you soaking yourself in their rain? You are not a dumping ground. You are not a fixer-upper for emotionally lazy people. You are not a sponge for anyone's venom. You are not their therapist, their target, or their emotional trash can. Start acting like it. Set the damn boundary. Protect your inner world like it holds gold, because it does. Don't let anyone waltz into your temple with dirty feet and a bad attitude. You owe no explanations for your silence. You owe no access to anyone who's weaponized your kindness. And if they get angry when you stop playing the peacekeeper, let them. Let them drown in their own chaos while you walk away in complete, divine clarity. You don't need to fight them. You just need to stop feeding them, because energy vampires starve the moment you shut the door and turn off the light. And healing, real healing, it takes energy, sacred energy, Not Instagram quotes, not fake smiles, not spiritual wallpaper, but deep, silent, soul-wrenching energy that can't coexist with emotional parasites. So no, you are not too sensitive. You are not dramatic. You are not overreacting. You're just tired of being spiritually looted by people who don't even have the decency to say thank you while they drain you dry. Stop explaining your peace to people addicted to pain. Stop defending your calm to those who only function in chaos. Let them scream. Let them throw fits. Let them sink. But you rise, and you rise alone if you must, because your energy is sacred ground, and not everyone deserves to walk on it. This time, guard your soul like a savage. Don't just set boundaries, build walls with steel. Protect your calm like it's the last breath of air in a smoke-filled room, because it is. And if someone asks what changed, tell them, I am not available for anyone's poison. Number 3. Release guilt that was never yours to carry. Guilt doesn't always show up in chains. Sometimes it shows up in the quiet way you pause before speaking, in the way you flinch when someone asks you if you're okay, in the way you scan every room, every text, every moment, for signs you've done something wrong when you haven't. It's not yours. It never was. It was dumped on you, piece by piece, by people too broken to hold their own weight. So they handed you the blame wrapped in silence, wrapped in manipulation, wrapped in love. You weren't loved. You were used as a mirror. And when they didn't like what they saw, they shattered it and made you clean it up. You're still walking barefoot through the glass, bleeding shame you didn't create. And worse, you think you deserve the pain. Because the story was twisted so long ago, you forgot the original script. You think you were the problem. You think you pushed them away. You think you failed someone who was already falling apart long before they met you. People don't realize guilt can camouflage. It hides in politeness, in over-apologizing, in the way you try to fix everyone just so you don't feel like a burden. You tiptoe through life, hoping not to set off landmines that other people buried. You don't even realize you're carrying a weight until your back breaks in the silence of your own room. You collapse not from life, but from the emotional debt someone else wrote in your name. This is how they break you, with implication, with unfinished sentences, with sighs heavy enough to make you question your whole existence. You become addicted to proving your innocence in situations where you were never guilty. And your soul? It starts folding. It starts dimming. It starts speaking in whispers because guilt taught it that loud equals unlovable. You were never the villain. You were the last line of defense between someone else's emotional chaos and your own sanity. And now you walk around carrying scars for wars you didn't start. No more. You are not the scapegoat for someone else's shame. You are not the casualty of their emotional illiteracy. You are not the reason they failed to love. Their damage was their responsibility, not your cross to drag up the hill every day. Guilt has soaked into your identity like smoke in old walls. But it's not permanent. It's a lie with a good memory. Burn it. Tear it out by the root. Let the ashes fall wherever they want, just not on your soul. Start reclaiming the version of you that existed before you were convinced love had to hurt. You were never supposed to bleed to be worthy. You were never meant to shrink to be safe. Say this out loud. Whisper it. Scream it. Tattoo it in your breath. I am not a dumping ground for other people's shame. Say it again, until your body stops flinching, until your soul remembers it was born blameless, until your guilt starts choking on your freedom. You were not too much. You were not the mistake. You were the light that exposed their shadows, and they couldn't stand the reflection. So they dimmed you just to feel powerful. But now it's your turn to unlearn the guilt, to release the rust, to rise like the version of you that never got a chance to exist while carrying someone else's damage. They gave you guilt as a gift. Return it with interest. Number 4. Remove what you tolerate in silence. Peace doesn't always die in explosions. Sometimes it suffocates under the weight of quiet betrayals, the soft destruction, the fake "I'm fine" you rehearse until it becomes your native language, the small humiliations you brush off, the heavy smiles you force while something inside you is silently howling for oxygen. And somehow, this is what you call survival. But what you're actually doing is slow-motion self-erasure, one fake smile, one swallowed truth, one soul-depleting nod at a time. It's not the monsters that wreck you, it's the mild manipulators, the ones who hurt you politely, who disrespect you in lowercase, who praise you in public but cut you in private, and you let it happen, not because you don't see it, but because you're exhausted, because conflict feels like war and you're tired of bleeding, so you keep choosing false peace. You keep taping cracks into your foundation. You keep calling endurance strength, when really, it's just beautifully disguised surrender. Every time you ignore that lump in your throat, that tightness in your chest, that subtle ache in your spirit, you betray yourself. And betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it's dressed as loyalty to people who wouldn't notice if your world was burning. As long as you were still serving them tea with a smile. You keep dancing around red flags like they're decorations instead of warnings. You keep translating disrespect into "they're just stressed." You keep shrinking yourself into the version of you that's easiest to digest, until your reflection no longer recognizes the silence living behind your eyes. Epictetus didn't say be fearless. He said be foolish if that's what it takes to free yourself. Be misunderstood, be the villain, be too much. Because when you finally say no, the people who fed on your yes will start choking. They'll say you changed. They'll call it attitude, selfishness, ego. Let them name your boundaries, whatever helps them sleep. Because you didn't come here to be understood by the very hands that kept you wounded. Some of the deepest wounds don't bleed, they rot. You sit at tables that mock your hunger. You laugh at jokes that insult your essence. You show up for people who vanish when your soul collapses. And then you wonder why you feel hollow. This isn't peace. This is performance. And it's killing you by kindness you never asked for. So it's time to subtract. Subtract the draining calls. Subtract the environments that drain your joy like a leak you can't locate. Subtract the emotional vampires that bite without blood. Subtract the compliments that come with poison. Subtract the cycles that make you question your sanity every month like clockwork. Survival is not the goal anymore. Alignment is. You don't owe your silence to anyone who feasts on your discomfort. You don't owe your politeness to anyone who keeps you small. And if your healing makes them uncomfortable, good. That's the sound of the cage rattling before it breaks. You weren't born to bend until you disappear. You were born to rise, even if it scorches the room on your way up. Let them call it cold. Let them call it ego. Let them call it whatever they want. What they'll never call it again is access. You're done handing out emotional keys to people who only enter to rearrange your sanity. Say it out loud. I will no longer water dead plants just to prove I can bloom in pain. And when they notice you stopped showing up, stopped laughing on cue, stopped shrinking to fit their version of acceptable, let the silence answer them. You're not cruel. You're clear. You're not distant. you're aligned, and when peace costs your voice, your identity, your energy, it's not peace, it's spiritual suffocation. Walk out, not in anger, in clarity. Number 5. Purge the chaos. You've hidden inside your own body. The chaos isn't always around you. Sometimes it's under your skin, tangled in your nerves, trapped behind your rib cage, coiled in the silence of your throat. You think the pain faded because it got quiet, but that silence is a lie. It's just pain that stopped screaming and started whispering into your joints, your sleep, your breath. You keep wondering why you feel heavy when everything seems fine. That's because fine is the costume, and your body is wearing the truth like a curse. You walk into rooms smiling like a champion while dragging invisible chains behind you. You convince the world you're unshakable, but your spine knows the weight. Your chest knows the pressure. Your gut twists every time you try to pretend you're okay. That's not weakness. That's storage. You've been storing grief like furniture in an abandoned house, hoping time would come clean it out. But time doesn't heal what you refuse to touch. It just buries it deeper until your body starts sounding the alarm. Your neck aches not from posture, but from pride. That tension behind your eyes. It's the tears that never got permission to fall. That sudden anger that explodes out of nowhere. It's a rage that's been waiting in the dark for you to notice. The heartbreak you thought you moved on from is still echoing inside your ribs every night you stare at the ceiling, trying to outrun memories that won't stay dead. You didn't outgrow the pain. You just taught yourself to wear it like armor. But armor rusts, and yours is suffocating your spirit. Seneca said we suffer more in imagination than in reality, but he never meant to silence your storm. He meant confront it, not with logic, with war cries, with trembling hands, with cracked voices, with fists clenched around journals that bleed your truth in ink. Healing isn't pretty. It's a goddamn exorcism. It's throwing up every buried feeling you told yourself you were too strong to feel. It's shaking on the floor at 3 a.m. while your past claws its way out of your lungs. It's standing in the fire and refusing to leave until it stops burning you. The body keeps the score, but healing rewrites it. And rewriting means purging. Scream, run, shake, breathe. Meditate until the demons show their faces and cry until the ghosts dissolve. Let it flood. Let it vomit out of you like poison. Because energy doesn't vanish, it transforms. And if you don't choose what it becomes, it will rot you from within. You've been holding emotions like prisoners, hoping they'd behave if you ignored them. But emotions don't fade with silence. They ferment. They rot into resentment, numbness, fatigue. You try to love. You try to grow. But nothing blooms in contaminated soil. You can't build peace on a battlefield where the blood was never cleaned. You can't fake joy when your nervous system is screaming for release. Healing isn't love and light. It's a purge. It's emotional vomiting. It's soul surgery. And yes, it hurts. You'll feel worse before you feel free. You'll break before you rebuild. But it's necessary. The numbness isn't peace. It's paralysis. And it's time to choose movement, real movement, the kind that terrifies you and liberates you in the same breath. You've carried what wasn't yours. You've swallowed pain like pills just to function. You've been haunted by trauma you told yourself didn't matter. But now you bleed truth. Now you scream boundaries. Now you rip the silence open and let every shadow crawl out. And if healing makes you unrecognizable, good. That means the old version of you is finally dying. The version that stayed silent, that stayed small, that carried everyone's weight but her own name. Let it die. Let the purge become your resurrection. Negative energy doesn't roar like a beast in the night. It slinks like a shadow under your skin, twisting your guts, suffocating your breath in the silence of 1,000 stolen moments. It doesn't break your world with explosions. It poisons the air you breathe, the thoughts you swallow, the smiles you forge like armor against a battlefield no one else sees. You carry this invisible war, dragging invisible chains made of all the no's you never said, the betrayals you swallowed whole, the ghosts of kindness you gave to people who never deserved a scrap of your light. The weight presses down until your bones ache, your spirit fractures, and you forget what peace even sounds like beneath the crushing quiet. This isn't just tiredness, it's spiritual suffocation. Marcus Aurelius didn't scribble his wisdom from a throne of roses. He bled through the pages of chaos, loss, and endless war inside and out. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The universe doesn't hand you peace on a silver platter. It throws wreckage, and you're supposed to gather those splinters and build a throne from them. That unbearable pain clawing inside you, that hidden storm, it's not a curse. It's the crucible, the forge that melts down every fake part of you, leaving raw, molten truth beneath the ashes. Stoicism isn't a cold fortress. It's a fire that burns away your masks until nothing left to hide, only the real, the fierce, the unbreakable. You have been a ghost in your own life, a shadow pretending to smile while your soul screams. You've been drowning in silent betrayals, friendships as hollow as empty bottles, love that sucked you dry and spat you out, loyalty repaid with indifference. You tolerated this madness to avoid the storm outside, not realizing the storm was already inside you, howling, tearing, begging to be heard. Stoicism teaches not to cage emotion, but to master it, to turn every lash of pain into a whip of strength, every wound into a scar that screams, "I survived this hell and walked out taller." It's not about numbing or surviving. It's about rising, raging, rewriting the damn script until your story shakes the foundations. This moment, right now, is the crack in your armor, the fracture in your silence where truth bursts through like a lightning strike. This is not surrender. It's resurrection. The version of you that cowers is dead. The you that stands now is a war god forged in fire and blood, who refuses to bow to anyone's nonsense, who owns their chaos and commands their calm. So let the world call you cold, hard, or too much. Let them shatter their stories about you. You're building a new empire inside, and the throne is made of boundary lines sharper than swords, and peace carved out with raw, ruthless self-respect. Like this explosion of truth, share it. Burn it into the veins of someone else who's been drowning. Subscribe if you're ready to storm your own fortress. And leave your mark in the comments, a battle cry that echoes through silence. I choose to protect my inner power. Because chaos didn't break you. It revealed the goddamn warrior waiting to tear the sky apart.